What's going on, guys? Welcome to another second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Today, I have a stimulus workaround that is surprising, it's shocking, and I want to bring this to your attention. Now, today, what's being discussed is among House Democrats. This is not breaking news. If this happens, I guarantee will be breaking news, it will be shocking news, and it will be great news all in one. However, now, in order to understand really what's going on and understand this stimulus workaround, I need to kind of explain what is happening first. I need to explain how the second stimulus check, unemployment, PPP funding, school aid, rental assistance, and more will be affected by this. So this is what you need to understand regarding the holdup of all the stimulus negotiations. Currently, the biggest holdup, Nancy Pelosi wants $2.2 trillion. And the Trump administration says they will not go any higher than $2 trillion. It's a $200 billion gap. It should easily be fixed. However, that's not the case. And this is the reason why we are currently being held up. And no American is getting a second stimulus check, no additional unemployment, no PPP funding, no rental assistance, and so on and so forth. We have seen the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal, and they are at $1.5 trillion, and it will go as high as $1.9 trillion with the automatic boosters that are built in. But this only kicks in if the pandemic gets worse, if the economy gets worse. And many people, as of right now, do not believe it will get worse. So, Nancy Pelosi says that the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal was good. It was a good attempt. However, it does not address the real needs of the American people. Okay, Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows, they have urged Nancy Pelosi to accept the $1.5 trillion stimulus package because it would help them move forward, solve these issues. We will get this done. We will send the checks to the American people. We'll provide funding for state and local governments. But Nancy Pelosi says Democrats are not budging from their $2.2 trillion stimulus package, or at least not yet. So really, what is the difference between a $2.2 trillion stimulus package and a $2 trillion stimulus package? Well, additionally, it's just a $200 billion state and local government fund. That's really all the difference is. However, Nancy Pelosi has still not proposed a $2.2 trillion stimulus package. She says, why don't you accept $2.2 trillion? However, she has not actually given a proposal. She hasn't written a bill. There's nothing in the works as of right now that we know of that is going to be put in front of Steven Mnuchin. He has not seen anything. There's no legislation outlined. He does not know currently what is going to be in a $2.2 trillion stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi just says, just go and accept it. And he's not going to do that. So, that is one of the first issues. The second issue is President Trump and the Trump administration say they will not bail out states that were poorly run and mismanaged pre-pandemic. What that means is if a state was poorly run before the pandemic hit, so sometime before February of 2020, they are not going to bail out those states. They do not want to help out those states other than provide them relief and financial stability because of their lost income due to less taxes and things like that. So that is what the Trump administration is currently saying. Now, here's where the stimulus workaround comes into play. And this is big. This could be a game changer all around. House Democrats don't want to risk their upcoming election by sitting idly by and watching Nancy Pelosi continue to say no. So they're willing to do something. The House Democrats want to pass standalone bills and avoid Nancy Pelosi altogether. Mark Meadows reiterated this yesterday, saying this would be a good move. They should consider standalone bills. He even asked, what if we eliminate the stimulus check? Would that help? Nancy Pelosi said no. So, as of right now, everybody wants stimulus checks, so don't worry, that is good news. However, by getting moderate Democrats together, by getting the lower level members of Congress together, then they could unite them as well as get in with Republicans and negotiate. Because all they need is about 20 to 25 Democrats from the House to agree on a Republican-sided proposal or a standalone bill, and this could get pushed through the House. So it is possible, it's conceivable, it might happen. However, there are many experts that are predicting this would be a last resort. So do not expect this to happen unless there's absolutely nothing that's going to happen from Congress. President Trump cannot do an executive order for additional stimulus checks or for unemployment. So because of that, currently we're kind of at a standstill until we know a little bit more, until we get closer to the election. As of right now, we do not know if these House Democrats are willing to do something prior to October 1st, or actually 2nd, or if they're waiting until sometime in October prior to the November 3rd election. We don't know that yet. However, we should expect some answers over the next few days. Now, here is the reason why these House Democrats are considering doing a standalone bill. It's not to do a standalone bill for everything that they want to pass. For example, state and local government funding, stuff for funding for the United States Postal Service, airlines, stimulus checks, unemployment, rental assistance, food assistance, and so on and so forth. It's not for all that stuff. What they believe is by doing a standalone bill or a couple bills, then what will happen, and by bypassing Nancy Pelosi, eventually she's going to see that she's losing her leverage, so she will eventually cave and give in to that $1.5 trillion stimulus package. Many members of Congress, or specifically the House, many Democrats voted against that $3.4 trillion HEROES Act because they said it was too partisan and it was too expensive. However, Nancy Pelosi wants to push forward with that, or at least a pared down $2.2 trillion stimulus package. So here's how this stimulus workaround is going to work at this point. Once Nancy Pelosi sees she's losing her leverage, she would eventually accept, or they believe she would accept, that $1.5 trillion stimulus package from the Problem Solvers Caucus. However, Nancy Pelosi doesn't see it this way. I do not know, I haven't seen any reports saying what the downfall is, what the flip side would be if Democrats were to do this and try to go around Nancy Pelosi. However, based on her record, based on her past, I could assure you that they would be dealt with at some point in some manner. I don't know how, but I guarantee they would. Now, just yesterday, a letter was led by Jared Golden and many other Democrats. And I believe it was like 34 others. Most of them were Democrats. And they were urging Nancy Pelosi to broker a deal before the October 2nd deadline. Before the October 2nd, they're pretty much supposed to go on recess as of October 2nd. However, Nancy Pelosi says she will not. Other House Democrats said they will not either. However, there has been some reports that show some Democrats are getting on a plane and going back home. So, not sure what's going on there, but I will look into that. Now, these members reiterated that campaigning right now in October is the last thing on their minds, the last thing they want to do. What they want to do is provide funding for schools to get kids back to school safely. They want to provide funding for local businesses. They want to provide funding for their state and local budget shortfalls. And they also want to provide funding for their constituents. Their constituents are their priority. They do not care about campaigning. Yes, they want to win. They want to stay in office a little bit longer. However, that is not the priority, and it should not be the priority for anybody in Congress. That is what they're saying, and that is the reason why they're considering a stimulus workaround to go completely around Nancy Pelosi altogether. Now, A stimulus workaround, going around Nancy Pelosi altogether, would be a very bold move at this point. There are still options. We don't know if Nancy Pelosi is just playing hardball, and eventually, as we get closer to the election, maybe she accepts a stimulus package. We just don't know. Some people think, okay, this is just a thought, that Nancy Pelosi will accept a stimulus package not after the election. That is the most likely scenario. However, she might accept a stimulus package that is in the range of $1.5 trillion as we get closer, maybe towards the middle to end of October, because that would mean some people have already, or many people have already cast their vote. So their vote is not going to change. And also, it would mean that most people would not receive their President Donald Trump signature check prior to their November 3rd election. So because of that, we might not have to wait all the way past the election. We might just have to wait until it gets a little bit closer. So again, it is news. It's some good news, but most of it's still bad news. But it's shocking news that as of right now, House Democrats are thinking about going around Nancy Pelosi to get what they really want, because what they want is currently not being heard by the speaker herself. So there you guys go. That is your mid-afternoon Wednesday stimulus update. If you have questions regarding anything that I mentioned here or anything that I talked about earlier this morning, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. If there's more stuff that comes out between now and later on today, promise I'll do another stimulus check update so I keep you updated on everything that's going on. Hopefully it's going to be good news. Hopefully we hear something. But again, we'll see as we get closer. I can't tell you that yes, we're going to hear some good news. We're going to hear great news, but I can tell you there will be progress. Hopefully it's forward progress, but again, we just don't know. So again, thank you for watching today's second stimulus check update. If there's anything I can do for you, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.